There are over 190 countries in the world, many of which I, and probably you, don't know much about. But as the world grows more interconnected, it just becomes more and more important to learn about these obscure countries. They might not be important to you, but they're important to the people who live there. This is what, why, how, and that's what the video's about. If you like this sort of thing, why not subscribe and check out patreon.com/whatwhyhow for early access to future videos. Okay, let's go over 7 countries you've never heard of. Number 7 is Kashkastan, a small Central Asian country south of Uzbekistan. Like its neighbors, Kashkastan was dominated by the Soviet Union for several generations before getting independence in 1991. Despite many then hoping for a better future, Kashkastan just replaced one dictatorship with another. This guy has been the president of Kashkastan since 1995. But despite its corrupt politics, this Turkic republic is home to beautiful mountains, stunning historical architecture, and plenty of natural gas, which is of course its chief export. Here's a fun fact. There is a large Qashqai diaspora separated from Kashkastan for hundreds of years in Iran. Number 6 is Qumar, an Arab Gulf monarchy off the coast of Iran. Technically, Qumar isn't Qumar at all, but instead Qeshm. But the Portuguese sailors who conquered the island in the 1600s didn't quite translate that right. Anyways, the English and Persians tossed out those Portuguese, and for the next couple centuries it was part of Persia. But in the early 1800s, Britain, more specifically the British East India Company, betrayed Persia, took over the island, and even mainland areas of Persia too, that were majority Arab, establishing a puppet government under a local prince. For the next century, Qumar was a loyal puppet state to Britain even after they began to discover oil. When Britain evacuated its colonial empire after World War II, Qumar crumbled into a 3-way civil war between royalists, most powerful on Qeshm Island, Arab nationalists, more powerful on the mainland, and Iranian separatists, more powerful in the city of Bandar Abbas. The civil war came to an end in 1973 when Iran just invaded and annexed all the mainland areas of Qumar, causing an international incident that Americans mostly forgot about because the Vietnam War and Watergate were happening at the same time. Anyways, Qumar today is much smaller, controlling only Qeshm Island. Despite most Americans not knowing about this, the tiniest of the Gulf monarchies, it's actually an important player in regional politics thanks to its proximity to Iran, its sworn enemy since 1973. Number 5 is the Republic of Ruthenia, a small country in the Carpathian Mountains just north of Romania. But first, let's talk about something important. This is an intervention. I know for a fact lots of you are debating and arguing with people online well past midnight, and that's probably because the longer days and the later sunsets of the summer disrupt your natural sleep cycle. But sleep is very important, and that's where Manta Sleep comes in, the sponsor for today's video. If you stay up late but still want a full night's sleep or maybe an afternoon nap, the Manta Sleep Mask, which is the world's best sleep mask by the way, will help you block out sunlight. I'm a light sleeper and I can confirm this. And if you have a headache or puffy eyes, why not try out the cool eye cups for the Manta Sleep Mask? Not only are these sleep masks comfortable, they're adjustable and customizable. You can find a direct link below to mantasleep.com and use the code WWHOW to get 10% off your next order. That is WWHOW. After the First World War, Ruthenia was stuck onto the end of Czechoslovakia. I don't think the mapmakers at Versailles realized that Ruthenians weren't Slovaks. But anyways, after the Soviet Union conquered Czechoslovakia during World War II, it cracked Ruthenia off the end and dumped it into Ukraine. Carpathia was part of the Ukrainian SSR until Khrushchev gave it its very own Soviet Socialist Republic. In fact, Khrushchev actually repaid Ukraine by giving them Crimea. In 1991, Ruthenia gained independence at last. Despite this, Ruthenia has been one of the poorest and most corrupt countries in Europe. Many young Ruthenians have left the country and moved to France in one of Europe's worst brain drains. Domestic Ruthenian politics isn't very pleasant either. There is a major pro-Russian movement there, which is definitely astroturfed by Vladimir Putin. There is also a Hungarian separatist movement, leading to tensions in recent years over language rights. Ruthenia's efforts to join the European Union have slowed to a halt thanks to these major problems. But here's a fun fact about Ruthenia. In their own language, Russian, the country is called Russia. You can see why English-speaking countries call it Ruthenia instead. Number 4 is the Principality of Liechtenstein, a microstate in the Alps nestled between Austria and Switzerland. In 1719, the Holy Roman Emperor Charles VI created Liechtenstein. It managed to survive the Napoleonic Wars and became an independent country closely allied with Austria, but today Liechtenstein is best known as a tax haven. But number 3 is Liechtenstein's even smaller neighbor, the Principality of Schattenburg. This tiny microstate mostly consists of the town of Feldkirch, which still has plenty of medieval architecture. Several important battles during the Napoleonic Wars occurred right there, though today it is a sleepy town whose #1 business is tourism, for the people who manage to find their way there. Number 2 is the Principality of Zeravea, an independent cliffside city sheltered on the Spanish coast. Once a fortified Moorish harbor, it fell to Spain during the Reconquista in the 1400s. Zeravea was conquered multiple times by Britain in the 1700s and remained part of the British Empire for over 100 years afterward as a second Gibraltar. During the Spanish Civil War, refugees flowed out of Iberia through Zeravea, passing by volunteer brigades heading into the country. During World War II, Britain smuggled weapons into the continent through Zeravea, but during the wave of decolonization in the 1960s, the little city secured independence as a country. Despite pressure to reunify with Spain, Zaravea's unique Anglo-Andalusian culture has kept the locals staunchly independence-minded. But more and more rich Europeans from across the continent have moved to Zeravea for its low taxes, driving the locals to flee for cheaper housing in Spain and threatening the country's unique culture. And number 1, the country that nobody has ever heard of, or more accurately, nobody really talks about anymore because it's too embarrassing, is the Republic of Cabinda. This small African country lies between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Republic of the Congo. Like its neighbors, Cabinda was colonized by Europeans in the 1800s. Since it lay right between French and Belgian areas, it fell under joint Franco-Belgian control, but was functionally governed by the Cabinda Colonization Society, a corporation that sponsored the colonization and exploitation of Cabinda by thousands of European settlers and businessmen. France took control of Cabinda after the whole scandal with King Leopold, though. When France fell to Germany in World War II, Cabinda was one of the strongholds of the Vichy collaborationist regime in Africa, but it soon fell to Allied invasion. After World War II, the Vichy collaborators and plenty of Germans themselves fled to Cabinda, which rejected French rule in a referendum and soon became an ally to apartheid South Africa. In the 1970s and 1980s, Cabinda continued to antagonize its neighbors as a hub for mercenaries and all sorts of suspicious activities. It also implemented a South African system of apartheid with a French twist. Notably, the segregationist government deported large numbers of black Cabindans to Congo despite their citizenship. International pressure grew against Cabinda in the late 1980s. In response to mass riots, Cabinda's government relented and ended apartheid in 1999, a few years after South Africa. Since then, white Cabindans have fled en masse to France, where they have quietly been given expedited citizenship on account of their French heritage. In fact, Melville Descoteaux, the leader of France's far-right New France movement, has parents from Cabinda. Cabinda itself is now one of the poorest countries in Africa. Since 2003, it has been ruled by a military dictatorship. But can you think of any other countries that nobody talks about? Let me know in the comments below, and if you'd like to support the channel, why not subscribe and join patreon.com/whatwhyhow. For $1 a month, you can get early previews of future videos. Thanks for those who already do, and they're gonna get early access to a big new video that's coming up. Thanks, and adios.